Welcome aboard, everybody. It's Captain D. We're sitting in the Cessna 172 at a gate in San Francisco doing some more testing with the X-Plane 5.0 Beta 1 Vulkan graphics API. This test we will be testing how Vulkan performs with weather, because in the OpenGL graphics API, weather can sometimes kill the frame rates. Right now, it's clear, no weather. We have everything set to maximum with our anti-aliasing set at ×4. As we found out in yesterday's video, that is the best setting for my system running Vulkan that I found right now. That could change in the future. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to start with adding some scattered clouds. And we went from 50 to 55 down to between 48 and 50. And just sitting on the ground, nothing running. Let's go ahead and get the plane started. Just a quick note here while I start the airplane. You won't always get the same frame rates at the airport every single time. You have to take everything in a ballpark kind of way and try to just stay above a certain number at whatever runs smooth for your system. That's my little disclaimer. Okay, we got a low vacuum, but I think that'll go away once the engine gains some RPM here. Okay, so sitting on the runway, scattered clouds, not any real heavy weather. We're hovering around 40 to 42. In the taxi over, we dropped into like 38, and at some times went over 50. So it all just depends on really what you're looking at. But the average is around 40. So we're going to take off, do a circuit, land again, and then change the weather. Still hovering around 40, 44. Not sure why we're getting a low vacuum light. Odd. Vacuum pressure's fine on the gauge. Almost up to 50. Alright, so we're going to go out above the water and see if that changes anything. Almost all the way up to 60 over water. But smooth in the turn, none of that usual fraction of a second pausing. As we come over the coastline and buildings come into view, we drop down to about 40. So weather really isn't playing much of a factor, at least with the scattered clouds that we have now. I'd say maybe you're losing 1 or 2 frames, nothing to really worry about. 90 knots, 1,000 feet. Go ahead and turn base here. Still in the mid-40s. Well, this is going to be a quick base to final, I guess. Still in the mid-40s with the aliasing set at 4. If I set that all the way up, we would probably be in the high 20s. Ground, we're just gonna hit the brakes and stop. Move the weather up. We'll go to low visibility. Still in the mid-40s, no real difference. Now this time we're actually going to climb up into the clouds to see if that plays a factor. Okay, so we're in the clouds, and we actually increased in frame rates. It went from the mid-40s to hovering at about 60. That's definitely different. Usually, or before, with the OpenGL, we would lose frames in the clouds. Now we are over water, so it's not loading buildings or anything like that. We're just going to climb out to the top here and see what happens when we break out. Alright, so we've climbed about over 1,000 feet here, and we're in the stuff, as they say, and still hovering at about 60 frames. So we're going to go up to about 5,000 feet and see if we break out here. Alright, so coming up on 5,000 feet and we're still not breaking out. I'm using the default low visibility. I'm not sure how far you got to climb to break out. But we're still hovering between 50 and 55. So we've dropped a little bit. About 5 frames as we get a little higher. But still nothing that's coming close to impacting performance, which for my system in the clouds is a lot better. Usually when I would get into clouds like this, I would be in the low 20s and occasionally dropping down into the high teens for a second or two, but averaging out in the low 20s. Alright, we are level at 5,000. Just throttle back here a little bit. and we'll go and try the stormy weather. Woohoo! Hang on. Okay, still hovering around 50. Let's make our way back to the airport here. Let's do a 180. Alright, as we make our turn to the west, we drop into the 40s. Really not dropping below 40, which is great. Right now we're over water, so we'll see if anything changes as we're approaching shoreline. But we've got rain, we've got thunder, we've got lightning. I don't think you can really get any more intense weather settings than we have now. And now that we've finished making our turn, I'm seeing it go as high as 73, hovering at right about 65, 68. So, based on what I'm seeing right now in this aircraft, I would say that Vulkan handles weather a whole lot better than OpenGL for my system. Which is good because 30 is pretty much my personal minimum. Alright, so weather, we're going to go all the way back down to clear. Apply changes. Give it a moment to adjust. And we're in the high 30s, so about 38. But it seems to be improving, going back up to about 40 the further we get. Because if you remember, back at the airport, we were in the high 40s. Or mid 40s. We seem to be in the high 30s now. And light weather that we had some scattered. And that's about the same, 30, 37, 35, 33, 37. So I'd say hovering right about 34, 35. And it dropped down into the high 20s. So with weather, there seems to be a little bit of hang up, I'd say. But again, this is just a beta. Things aren't permanent, so that's something that will probably get addressed, and it may not have anything to do with the Vulkan. It may just be a texture related thing, one of those one-time drops. So I'm not going to complain about that. It didn't interrupt the flight. A man can drive himself crazy trying to get the absolute 100% perfect flight simulator. You spend thousands of dollars and drive yourself nuts. Okay, so as we're over the city here, we're in the low to mid 30s. And I bet it's going to increase as we go over the water here. Get back on course. A little shakiness in the camera view. As we come back over the water, we rise back into the high 30s, low 40s. That was expected. But overall, everything it's flyable. It's smoother than OpenGL, in my opinion. Like you saw there when we were making the turn, there's still a little bit of a hang up there, but I didn't get a pause like that sometimes happens in OpenGL, so I would still say that it ranks better. Descending, now we're into the 50s over water. Alright, we're looking for 80 knots for our first notch of flaps. Force the nose down so we don't balloon. And we don't need the autopilot. Okay, still in the 40s. Still in the 40s, about the same. On the ground, safe and sound. And that concludes the weather test. I will put some numbers at the end of the video here to give you an idea, but weather does play a factor. But overall, things are still better for me and my system. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please remember to like and subscribe and stay tuned for future videos. I will be testing some other aircraft in Vulkan throughout the week, and I hope to have a couple of videos showing how some of the more higher performance aircraft perform with the new beta version of X-Plane. Again, this is a beta version, so some of these little issues we're running into will definitely be resolved, and we can't expect everything to be perfect the first go around. Until next time, see you later. After reviewing the video, here are the numbers. Like I said before, this is just around San Francisco with the Orbix True Earth NorCal scenery. So it's a very limited test with very limited data, but still kind of gives an overlook. And overall, as the pilot in command, I would say that Vulkan is better in weather than OpenGL. Just my opinion.